Have you ever thought about glitter? No, I'm not talking about the critically acclaimed 2001 Mariah Carey movie that has garnered a whopping 2.4 stars on IMDb. No, I'm talking about actual glitter, the mainstay of children's art projects and strippers' outfits for decades. But what is it? It's like somebody took sheets of colorful, shiny metal and cut it up into tiny little particles that bounce light in all directions, giving everything an effervescent shimmer. It's also coarse and sticky.
And it gets everywhere.
It's also kind of a giant mystery, because the biggest client for the biggest glitter company in the world is a secret that the company fervently guards, which of course has prompted discussion all around the internet about who this client might be and what they're using it for. So basically, who's buying up all the glitter? And what are they doing with it? So I guess we can start with that opening question. What is glitter? Simply put, glitter is plastic and aluminum. They take clear plastic film of various colors, and then the aluminum is heated in a vacuum chamber until it deposits on the plastic. And then they chop it up into tiny flecks, and there you have it. Colorful, shiny, glittery glitter. From here, it's sold in all kinds of different sizes, from chunky glitter to glitter dust, basically. And then there's glitter of various shapes and all that kind of stuff. You can buy them at art supply stores, put them towards arts and crafts, and it's used in the making of all kinds of toys and paint and stationery. The list goes on. And I guess that question was on the mind of New York Times reporter Katie Weaver in 2018, when she interviewed a representative from a company called GlitterX, one of the top glitter companies in the world. I imagine this was probably just a puff piece in her mind, just a fun article that people might click on, but what she didn't realize was that she was about to open the glitteriest can of worms in internet history. So the article's super interesting, actually. I'll put a link to it down below. There is a paywall, unfortunately. Can't do anything about that. But she basically traveled to the GlitterX headquarters in New Jersey. And they talk all about how the different types of glitter that they make, how they vaporize aluminum to coat the mylar film, how they make iridescent glitter by layering different widths of film to reflect different wavelengths. It's a decent read if you're a nerd. But it was a section of the article about 3/4 of the way down that got the internet's attention, where she recounted an exchange with Lauren Dyer, who is a manager at GlitterX who was showing her around. It reads, "When I asked Miss Dyer if she could tell me which industry served as GlitterX's biggest market, her answer was instant. No, I absolutely know that I can't." I was taken aback. "But you know what it is?" "Oh, God, yes," she said and laughed. "And you would never guess it. Let's just leave it at that." I asked if she could tell me why she couldn't tell me. "Because they don't want anyone to know it's glitter." "If I looked at it, would I know it was glitter?" "No, not really." "Would I be able to see the glitter?" "Oh, you'd be able to see something, but yeah, I can't." I asked if she could tell me off the record. She would not. I asked if she would tell me off the record after this piece was published. She would not. I told her I couldn't die without knowing. She guided me to the automotive grade pigments. It turns out, the internet also could not die without knowing this. Only difference is there was nobody there to guide the internet to automotive pigments. Fairly soon after this article dropped in December 2018, a Reddit user on R Unsolved Mysteries started a thread on the article, and conspiracy theories have been flying ever since. But to get to the bottom of this glitter mystery, it might help to kind of look at all the different ways that glitter is being used and that we know is being used, because it's a lot. I'm talking credit cards, football helmets, also animal food? Yeah, researchers apparently use glitter-laced food to track animals through their droppings. Companies put glitter in their products to prevent counterfeiting, and glitter's been used in crime solving as well. It's not exactly DNA, but fragments of glitter have distinct properties that can be seen under a microscope. Glitter's come up in court cases involving kidnapping, car crashes, and even homicide. Variations of materials, colors, and shape have been used to put all kinds of people at the scene of the crime. Holographic glitter is especially distinctive because of the grooves that make it direct light. Glitter came into the world in 1934 when a German-American machinist named Henry Frank Rushman invented it basically by accident. As the story goes, he had a photo cutting machine, and this machine had a little flaw in it, like a stutter that made dust on the floor with flecks of photo paper. And then one Christmas, some clever workers scooped up some of the flecks and used it as fake snow in their Christmas decorations. It quickly became popular, so Rushman built a machine that made it on purpose. He was running a farm called Meadowbrook at the time, so he named his new glitter company Meadowbrook Farm Inventions. Now it's just called Meadowbrook Inventions. And that company is still manufacturing glitter to this day. In fact, it's the second largest glitter maker in the US, the biggest being GlitterX, even though they came into business way later. So what's their secret? How did GlitterX become so wildly successful? Is it secret government contracts? Connections to Big Pharma? Or is it something darker than that? Nobody seems to know. And GlitterX isn't saying. But there are a lot of theories. My theory is that you shouldn't solve a mystery on an empty stomach. Excuse me for a second. Luckily, this won't take long because I've got Factor in the fridge. Factor is a meal delivery service that ships fresh, never frozen meals right to your door. And they're pre-made, just a couple minutes in the microwave and you're good to go. It's made by the same chefs behind HelloFresh, so it's just as good as HelloFresh, just a lot faster, which, sometimes that's all you have time for. My favorite thing about Factor, besides the shakes, which are amazing, is that they're actually healthy. Like, I can eat these and not feel bloated and gross, any more than I already am anyway. They've got a variety of meal plans depending on whatever kick you're on right now, including keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and protein plus. And you've got 34 planned recipes to choose from, so you're picking out your next shipment, you've always got something you like. They've also got delicious breakfast items like apple cinnamon pancakes and bacon and cheddar egg bites for those mornings when you just don't have time to do a whole thing. Oh, and there's also gourmet plus options, so you can make your dinners extra fancy with filet mignon, surf and turf, Cajun spice, shrimp, and salmon. And if you'd like to give Factor a try, they're offering a special deal for viewers of this channel. You can get 50% off your first box when you enter the code JoeScott50 at checkout, and that's with free shipping. Oh, and by the way, if you're concerned about the environmental impact of meal delivery services, you should know that they do care about that too. They offset 100% of their carbon emissions, so you can feel good about that. Anyway, links down below. Go give it a try if you haven't. The offer code's JoeScott50. You'll get 50% off. It's super awesome. I think you'll be glad you checked it out. Now, let's figure out this glitter thing. So the first place we ought to go is the source of all the rampant speculation anyway. The Our Unsolved Mysteries thread has a couple thousand comments, and there's just as many theories. Obviously, I won't cover them all, but here are the ones that I find the most plausible. Theory number 1, microtaggants. So I mentioned glitter's use in law enforcement and anti-counterfeiting. It turns out that's a much bigger market than you might expect. Like, there's a company called Microtrace that makes security devices that can be printed on or mixed into pretty much any product imaginable. This includes things like special inks, RFID tags, and actual DNA. They also sell tiny particles that can be used to identify explosives called microtaggant identification particles, or MIP. These use color coding and fluorescence to encode information like the manufacturer and when it was produced, which sounds like something glitter could do. The problem with this theory is there's not really a lot of reason for them to be shy about this. I mean, it would still work whether it was glitter or not. Plus, you can find pictures of microtaggants online, so they're not especially secretive about it. Unless its use is so widespread that it's literally in everything around us, which is kind of creepy, and they probably don't want everyone to know that. But considering the importance of what they do and the potential for bad actors to take advantage of that knowledge, it's not the dumbest theory. Theory number 2, boat paint. So this theory was made popular by the Endless Thread podcast nearly a year after the glitter mystery went viral. Endless Thread is hosted by Ben Brock Johnson and Anne-Marie Silverstein, and in November 2019, they actually visited the GlitterX factory in hopes of, finding an answer to this. They tried to talk to Lauren Dyer, but were unable to get an interview. Couldn't get anybody else to go on the record either. So it was looking like a short episode, until a Redditor who had been in Glitter years ago offered his expertise. So if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, I'll put a link to that episode down below. But to sum up, the expert said that he was 99.9% sure that the top glitter customer was making vehicle paint. Wait, that's not a secret. Everybody knows that. But it turns out he wasn't talking about car paint. He was talking about plane and boat paint. So the host looked into that and they found an inside source that worked for a company that makes marine vehicle paint. And he confirmed they make a lot of it uses glitter, and a lot of that glitter comes from GlitterX. So they're definitely a huge customer, possibly the biggest, but why does that need to be a secret? Like, everybody knows there's glitter in boat paint, that's obvious. And besides, she said that it would be a company that you wouldn't expect, and this feels pretty expected. The only real argument for why boat paint makers would want to keep this secret is because glitter is, almost by definition, a microplastic. And microplastics in oceans and waterways are becoming a real problem. In fact, glitter's environmental impact is pretty bad across the board. Not only are they made out of plastic that will take thousands of years to biodegrade, but plastic is a petroleum product, and all the problems that come along with that. So there might be a reason for them to keep this a secret, but honestly, I don't know. I'm skeptical of this one. I always say that the most likely answers are usually the most mundane ones, but this is almost too mundane. I just don't see it as something that needs to be kept that secret. Theory number 3, toothpaste. So here's a fun one. Have you ever wondered what gives Crest that sparkle? Could it be metallized plastic? I could totally see why toothpaste companies would not want people to know that they're forcibly rubbing glitter into their teeth. That makes perfect sense. There is one problem with this one though. And that problem is called the 2015 Microbead Free Waters Act, which was signed by President Obama and prohibits companies from adding plastic flecks in products that are expected to be rinsed off. And this is something that toothpaste companies actually used to do. Like that's a known thing, but they did have to make changes because of this law. It actually prohibits flecks smaller than 5 millimeters. So yeah, those would be some massive chunks of glitter in your toothpaste if they were still doing it.
Do I have something in my teeth?
The law went into effect a year before the GlitterX interview, so that does kind of kill this theory. Unless they've continued doing it illegally. In which case they absolutely would want to keep quiet. And I imagine GlitterX would want to keep it quiet as well for their own legal reasons. But yeah, I'm kind of soft on this one. Theory number 4, rocket fuel. That's right, nerds, we somehow put a rocket element into this. Okay, so once upon a time, Meadowbrook Inventions used to produce a material called zirconium, which was used in solid rocket fuel as well as fireworks and artillery shells. So zirconium is not glitter, but glitter and rocket fuel do share one common ingredient, aluminum. As I'm sure many of you already know, aluminum powder is a key ingredient in solid rocket boosters, like the Space Shuttle had and now the Space Launch System. So it's the same materials, and a glitter manufacturer would be well positioned to make a massive amount of it. So this one's not totally crazy. But I think, at the risk of being pedantic, this might stretch the definition of glitter a little bit, because I assume they would just buy the aluminum parts, like they wouldn't want the plastic on there. That would just add weight without any benefit, right? Unless just buying the glitter is that much cheaper, and that justifies using it, in which case, I mean, it's kind of wild to think that they're just stuffing rockets full of glitter, right? Now, one thing from the interview that does kind of lead some credence to this one, for me anyway, is that when she asked if you could see it, Lauren Dyer responded, "You'd see something," which, a massive explosion or a launch would definitely be something to see. My only question is whether or not the rocket or fireworks industry is big enough to be their biggest client. That I'm not so sure about, but this one is an interesting theory to me. Theory number 5, aircraft shaft. Okay, so I saved this one for last because I think there might be something to this one. So if you saw Top Gun Maverick, you might remember like some of the coolest scenes involve the use of flares. These are things that they shoot behind the aircraft to divert incoming missiles.
Here it comes!
So if you watch this scene closely, you'll notice the button the map presses is labeled Remote Flare /Shaft. Flares are for that heat-seeking missiles. Shaft messes with their radar guidance. And guess what shaft is made of? According to the Department of Defense anyway, it says, quote, millions of tiny aluminum or zinc-coated fibers. I mean, to dig a little deeper on this, there was a DoD report from 2018 that warned of risks from having a sole source of shaft. So it might make sense that they might be supplementing their shaft with glitter, assuming it works the same way. And as for how much shaft they may be using, according to some news sources, upwards of 500 tons of shaft are dumped into the atmosphere every year. Okay, first of all, dumping 500 tons of particulate matter into the atmosphere is a big yikes for me, dog. But second, that's just what they're dumping, so you know they're buying more than that. We were able to track down that the sole supplier of shaft for the DoD is a company called Armtech Defense, who claim to produce more than 1 million pounds of shaft per year. Do the math, and you'll notice that 500 tons and 1 million pounds are the same. And digging a little bit deeper, it turns out that that number is actually kind of a lowball estimate on how much shaft is used in the US alone. So I like the timing of this theory. That DoD report came out in September of 2018. The New York Times article came out later that year. Also, we found an article that says that Meadowbrook Inventions produced shaft during World War II. So again, there's a history here. The only holes I can poke in this theory is, again, why would the military care if the public knows this? Unless knowing this gives our enemies a way to get around the shaft somehow. That and just the fact that it's the military, so it's going to be more secretive. Also, being that there's another company that makes the majority of their shaft and GlitterX would just be supplemental, I don't know if it would make up that much of their revenue. But then again, it's the military, they've got a massive budget, and anytime you're talking about national security, things get pretty secretive. So yeah, I think there might be something to this one. And look, there are other theories, everything from the transportation system with all their signs and road paint to makeup and pharmaceuticals to cloud seeding and, of course, chemtrails. Hey, Future Joe here. So after I recorded this video, I actually found another theory that I think is worth including. In fact, it might be the best one I've found so far. So there was a TikTok that was done by a TikToker named Maxed Out Mommy that speculated that the best answer for this is quartz countertops. I'll put a link to it down below so you can see the whole thing. It's actually really long. It's like a 7-minute TikTok. But basically, the argument here is that when they make quartz countertops, usually it's not like one big slab of quartz. It's sort of ground up and compressed together like a particle board kind of thing. And she went to the website of one of the quartz countertop manufacturers, and their website says that it's 90% ground quartz with 10% extra additives and polymers. Polymers meaning plastic. By the way, it's not just countertops. That might seem like a small market, but it's countertops, it's tile, it's flooring. It's actually a pretty big market. But she was pointing out in her video that apparently some DIY YouTubers and TikTokers have made their own quartz composite countertops, and the only way that they could make it look like the real stuff that you buy in the store was by adding glitter. And she looked at the numbers in the industry. She figured out, how much you would need for all the quartz countertops and stuff, and it came out to about 400,000 pounds of glitter every year. And I could see this one checking out. Quartz countertops, again, tiles, flooring, all that. It's a huge industry. It's used in a lot of construction materials and whatnot. And it's high-end stuff. People spend a lot of money on this. So the quartz industry probably doesn't want them to know that the reason that it looks so good is just basic store-bought glitter. She said that it's something that you would definitely see, but you might not know that that's what it is. That checks out. But I think this is one of the better theories I've run across. I think it checks out in a lot of ways. I'll put the link down below. Like I said, you guys go check it out. Poke holes in it in the comments. But there may be an even more mundane solution to the glitter mystery than all the possibilities that I've mentioned, and that's just good old-fashioned marketing. I mean, seriously, before this article came out and all the hoopla that was created around it, most people had never heard of GlitterX. And now we're all still talking about them 5 years later. It's also possible that for whatever reason, they're just a very secretive company. She talks at the beginning about how restrictive they were when she was trying to get access to their building. Like, there were certain rooms that she could go into and some that she couldn't, some things that she could see and some things they couldn't. Maybe the answer is pretty mundane, but this Lauren Dyer person didn't want to say it because she knew she'd be fired, because that's the company culture kind of thing. Or maybe there's some really dark stuff going on that none of us can even imagine. Like, maybe this company is just a front and they're really like reverse engineering UAPs in the basement. Huh? It's probably not. But I'm curious what you guys think. Anything that I missed? Any of these that stand out as extra plausible to you? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Real quick before we go, a big shout out to the Answer Files on Patreon and the channel members who are like keeping the lights on around here, being awesome, forming an awesome community, being a good sounding board for me too. I really appreciate that. We got some new members for me to shout out real quick. We got Oren Reyes, John Lamanga, Troy Dill, Sarah B, Zeke Brannon, Matthew Piercy, and Anarchy1610. Anarchy. Thank you guys so much. If you would like to get early access to videos, access to exclusive live streams, and have a little cool thing next to your name down in the comments so you can stand out a little bit, just hit the join button down below. Please do like and share this video if you liked it, and if this is your first time here, I'll put another mystery video up here for you to go check out. I've been kind of leaning into mystery stuff lately. People seem to like it. I know I like it. It's fun. Or you can check out any of the other videos down there that have my thumbnails and my face on it. Give them a look. Give them a like if you like them, and I invite you to subscribe. I come back with videos every Monday. That's it for now. You guys go out there, have an eye-opening rest of the week. Stay safe, stay cool. It's August, and I'll see you next Monday. Love you guys. Take care.